And thank you that you are here on MOC membership. My name is Mihail, and today, my dear colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, we will discuss something really interesting. I will share one of the things that I have been done as technical advisor, and I will explain also the value that it brings. It will be with the sampling equipment, it will be some information that will change how you view, let's say, the product, the crude oil itself, but also it will help you, some of additional information that I will share, it will help you to see the things differently. First of all, as I have always said, I had created a memberships, let's say, through the channel here. And as I told you as well, that this is the best thing that I see looking from the view of working for myself, okay? The YouTube channel, it gives this opportunity. And I really believe in that. The reason why the YouTube has a free expression of information and sharing as well. It does not limit it. It has some regulations and all the things. Okay, we have to be good in our behavior and all the things. But the most important thing is that it gives you this advantage of speaking to the public directly. And the most important thing is not just to the public itself, it is for the people that are actually interested to improve themselves and see the different, okay? See the different, listen the different, and think, okay, I'm doing this way. Maybe I should do it a little bit another way, or maybe I should do it, let's say, a little bit another way. Because when you're looking the opinions of different people, then you realize how the things are, how the things can be, and how the things can be different. So solely based on one opinion or one team of people, actually we are limiting ourselves of new developments, new opportunities, and new things to come on. But the most important is that you have respect from that people that are presenting, let's say, some information, okay? And their pathway and also their proof through the industry has done an impact, okay? Small impact, big impact, middle impact, does not matter, but they have been impacted the industry, which I always think in a positive way, okay? When I see somebody impact the industry in the negative way, then yes, I will stand up and say it loudly, okay? And yes, this is, I believe, when the clarity as well comes, because clarity is really necessary thing in order to create development and progress. We do not like to create Siemens and let's say seafarers, or we don't like to create individuals that does not have their own opinion. What I'm aim to do is to create personalities that actually has their own beliefs and how they see their world, not dictating by, let's say, in one person, in one community to have specific benefit for them. But what I'm trying to do, it is creating the community that actually benefits themselves, each and every of you. Because this is the thing that I see, it is the most right. And the most important thing is, when you will have this knowledge, you will be independently. You will not be stand and waiting for somebody to give you that advice. You will know the way and the methodology, how to find the information, how to stand, and how we'll use the information. And this is the best way to create powerful individuals which they know what they would like to achieve, their goals, and driving the communities for further development. First of all, I would like to thank you that you are here on this channel, and that means a lot. That means you are being here for a specific reason. And also YouTube propose this video to your, let's say, search, or it appeared. What I have seen, this methodology and the way of approach the things have worked in different many ways. But since you learn all that information, maybe it's, let's say, small, maybe it's big, maybe it's, let's say, medium, you will able, yes, to drive forward the development. And you know, this information that I will share today, it costs millions, practically, and in reality, it costs millions. It has a huge, yes, value. Huge value, and I never hiding the value for myself, okay? I would like to share the value for you, every one of you, because I believe that sharing the value, it brings more value at the end, okay? And yes, keeping just information for myself does not make any sense. So that's why, besides the membership itself, I have created a channel which I have most of the material, it is free, okay? But more specifically, let's say the simulations, the diagrams, the crude oil washing masterclass as well, and the bunkering project, the slash project. It is some projects which I have spent time really and efforts, and I think, yes, that these memberships will able to help me, let's say, to sustain my family, okay? This is the only way of how I see that earnings, okay, at the moment. And what I would like to create, it's the way of thinking mostly, okay, the methodology, how we realize the things around us, and for what reason they are working in this way. Or they can work also much better on another way, benefiting more and more people, and we create a much more powerful economy, which is based on business development and the future development. It does not matter in which country you are living, it does not matter which language you are talking about, it does not matter your beliefs or your, let's say, stance at the moment, but since you get the meaning and since you get the methodology of how the things are working, it does not matter wherever you are, wherever, let's say, color you are, race you are, it does not matter, okay? Since we are in the same page and we are see the things and we realize the things that they are going to this direction, that is a good thing. That means you are willing to see the different approach. And that realization actually came when I was working, okay, for one of the biggest oil majors. I seen different people there. I listened careful them. I think, okay, this is my knowledge, what I have, what I should add more, and this is you just progress and progress and progress. That's why I believe that you can do everything you want since you have a way to approach the things, okay? Listening, thinking, what they say, for what reason they say, and how you can use this information in order to create value. So the book is available, it's already running about 6 months. It is already a finished product, and with combination with the online course, which is here available through the membership, you are able to have a clear image about the crude oil washing itself. It has everything. With combination with the course, you will have a complete understanding of that things, how it is working. You can ship around the world, really accessible, easy accessible. You can order it, you can view it, and you can take it also with you on board. And the reason why I have selected the turtle here and the clear seas, because since you apply all the methodology here, which it says in the book as a guidance, you are able basically to reach that standards and requirements in order to keep everything safe. And it explains also the reasons, it explains also the historical views, how the things was developed. So the progress itself, it took time until to reach on this, let's say, level as we are now, but it needs also pillars, it needs knowledge, it needs transfer of knowledge, it needs continuous education and continuous development of new seafarers. And I believe the easiest way is to get in touch with the material running through, because I have accumulated, let's say, 3 years of knowledge within this book. It's like that. It's very fast, very accurate. So what we will see today, we will see the sampling of the crude oil. We will see the sampling of the crude oil, because sampling, I will explain, it gives a huge value. It gives a huge value through the crude oil itself, for the purchasing, for understanding the crude oil, and all the things. So basically it has a huge value. So let's start, okay? Sampling. Where it starts all. So the crude oil is purchased for some specific, let's say, density. What is really important? Density. And also the level of the product that it has inside. Let's say diesel, naphtha, kerosene, okay, let's say naphtha, diesel, asphalt, let's say asphalt or bitumen, residuals, let's say heavy fuel oil, heavy oil, residuals, heavy oil. So basis on that, the concentration and the amount, let's say, of diesel, let's say 20% this, 5% this. Okay, this is for example, 5% this, let's say 20% this. This for example, okay, this is how much it is, let's say 40, 50, and here we have 50%. Maybe there is this crude does not exist to have this concentration. This is basically just to make you a preview. And we have the density 0.9, let's say kilograms per cube. Okay. Or more accurate, like that. Okay, density. It can measure, let's say, in grams. It can measure in kilograms. Depends your value. Okay, your unit. So the density can varies a lot. From really light, like condensate. Like condensate here. Condensate. And it can go, let's say, heavy, which is, let's say, 950, 980, like fuel oil. And the composition also there is changing. It's changing, different. So the refinery purchase this crude oil in order to create some streams, let's say, basis on the demand. So let's say this month, each year, let's say it will be almost similar, okay? During the winter, you would like to create a different blend. During the summer, you would like to create different blend. So all that has also seasonality. Seasons. Season makes a little bit different. seasonality, how it right. Okay, let me check. Let's don't write, let's say, mistakenly. We need to be okay, let's say seasons. Let's write seasons, like C. Seasons, based on seasons. Okay, so this is something that we know a little bit about. We are prepared, and that's why we are able also to make planning. We are making planning. This is a refinery planner, which are able to understand when it's required, for what reason it's required, and why it's required. And then, basis on the availability of the crude, with the prices, with the, let's say, margin optimization, with the traders, they will decide which crude they will purchase. Okay. Trading. That's why we have explained why it's so much important, the technical advisor, all that, let's say, planners as well, trading, they should be aligned and discuss all the things in advance before purchasing. Let's say there is a plan, and when you have a plan, basically you know what you have to import, what you have to export in the refinery, so everything is steady. But it can change, yes, basis on the demand, the supply, basis on, let's say, geopolitical tensions, changes, supply and demand also from the crude fields and all the things, any potential, let's say, technical problems on the field, let's say some of kind of, let's say, technical issue on the field, on the SBM, or for a delay through the weather conditions and all the things, that there can also play a huge role, yes, when the vessel will discharge, if another vessel occupied, let's say, the terminal itself, and we have problem for the vessel to berth, or maybe we have a damaged pipe on the refinery or damaged pipe. So all the things can affect, okay? But the program is program. This is what has been programmed. So how much flexible you will be, let's say, in your way, it depends also from your knowledge that you have and you are able to provide to the planners, to the traders and all the things, to the operations, in order to keep the things running smoothly, okay? Because each and every delay are able to affect the supply chain, and they're able to affect the demurrage rates, are able to affect the operations. So all that has to be in balance. When something goes unbalanced, it has an ongoing effect on the refinery supply, the transfer, so all the things are delayed. That's why it's called the supply chain. It is a chain that has links, and each and every link affected the overall results. So why it's so much important for this product itself and the density and the sampling itself? And I will explain the reason why. Because simply we have the crude oil, which in theory it's a product, has a name, has, let's say, a density, which we cannot say it's standard, but which the seller would like to achieve and the buyer wants to buy. And what is so much important with the sampling, that we have an accurate sampling. So the sampling should be accurate. The sampling should be representative. And should be also independent. Independent as much as possible, okay? Because we have to understand the reason of independency of the sampling. The accurate means it is really close to the representative. It means that the setup of the sampling itself and the understanding of what we will sample and for which reason, it has to come for a person which is called inline sampler operator. So this person in, let's say, good locations, probably he will be present, but in some other locations which has more sophisticated system, it will not be. It has both positive ways and negative ways to have this person, let's say, in that position. One of the positive things is, compare, let's say, with the locations that does not have this person, but has the operators, the operations, let's say, in the port that actually are doing the sampling. First of all, let's see some negative things, okay, by not having the person. This person, it is a specialist, an expert on the sampling equipment. So what this means, in case he spot an error, in case he spot that something is wrong, he will be able to advise the vessel on the operations, what actions they should do. This is the positive way, okay? The negative way is that if you do not have this person, the operators are not able to estimate if the sampling is good or not. So already you see there is huge difference because you do not have the expertise. And also it is basis how well your operators are trained. You can do that, yes, you can train them, but also it increases their working load and also the focus. As I have explained in my previous videos, that if you increase the workload tremendously, the focus is being reduced. And this is why the accidents and the incidents are happening. Also, the stress can create loss of focus as well. It can be any kind of stress. It can be stress through the communication. It can be stress on the stance. It can be a various of stress, okay? And if the management or, let's say, the location manager does not knowing the people, does not know the communication, how to do that, they will fail. They will fail really, really a lot. Excuse me. And one moment, excuse me, please. So, what is very, very important is to understand all that metrics and have a clear discussion with the people. That's why I'm always saying that when you are dealing with people, you have to really create a safe area, okay? Safe area to work with. Because, yes, we know we have a lot of problems, we have a lot of things are happening, and we cannot be really, really extreme strict. We have to understand, because yes, if we do not understand, we're just robots, okay? We are not able to make any selection. So basically, yes, basically, this is the positive and the negative, the biggest thing that you have to take in account. Let's explain, yes, the negative and the positive side of having a person, but there is more about that. There is more. There is the technical knowledge. There is also checking the things, yes, before the functioning of the equipment, the calibration of the equipment, of the sampling equipment itself. So when you have this person available there, yes, it will cost you more, but at the end he will able directly advise you in any things that are happening, let's say, on the sampling equipment. So this is what he's doing. He's always validate that is accurate. It has always clean sampler, cleaning the sampler, mixing properly the sampling, and then provide it to the laboratory. And that's why it is a independent party. It can be, let's say, some of, let's say, surveying company like SGS, Seybold, and all the companies, yes, huge companies around the world. So there is independent. They do not take any stance of the party. So what they found, what they have sampled, this is actually what is it. As marine technical advisor, let's say working for another party, I'm not able to intervene and say, no, you have, let's say, that thing done wrong, or the results is not wrong, or all the things. The results can't be wrong, and that's why you need samples also from the cargo tanks. These samples are not that much representative from the cargo tanks, okay? Cargo tanks. Because it depends every time in which level you have taken with the sampler, because the crude, as you know, it's layering here. It's a lot of layers. So the density here also changes through the levels as well. And in the bottom you can have water. So if you take more in the bottom, you do not have a representative sample or let's say accurate sample. But what the grapper is doing, it has a line here, and as the crude is passing, it has some grabs here, and it will take, depend on the flow rate, it will take grabs through entire the discharge operation, and then it will store in a canister. So there you need an adequate amount of liters. It varies from 12 to 14 liters, full canister, basis on the parcel. And then you are able to have a much more representative and accurate measurement. Also, if you have 3 grades crude, you have also to change each and every time, let's say the bottle, checking also the parcel, changing the parameters of the parcel. And also in some cases you can get problems. You can get problems also with the sampling if you are able to sample the crude, because some of them are huge, some of them having more sediments. So that's why the knowledge of sampler, independent sampler, it's really, really important if he's able to sampler, because if the operator from the company says, okay, just sample it, the sampling is starting, and then you get the problem, so you get off the equipment. So then you call, let's say, the service, and you say, okay, my equipment is not working, but the next vessel is already there for the next discharge, and you are not able to sample. So you have to do switch of the sampling equipment to see if it's portable, or you have to basis on the samples that you are able to take from the cargo tanks, which is not representative and accurate. And then when you get the samples from the cargo tanks, you lose in value. And the reason why you lose in value, because simply, as I described you, the samples are not accurate and are not representative, because you are taking the samples from different levels of the tank, not uniform, not accurate, and not by percentage representative. So basically what you get here, you get wrong density, you get wrong amount of B, S and W percentage, the sediments and water and all that things. So, and then when you're going for testing on the refinery, so basically you will get all that streams that we have set here, not proper, okay? The temperatures will not be proper, and it has value. Everything directly translates to money, okay? If you don't know at which temperature you will get that and how much you need, let's say, to heat the refinery, all the columns, and also you do not know at which temperature it is the cloud point or the pour point, because of the wrong sampling, yes, you lose value. And also, for example, if you have paid for the product which is 950 and you get from the sampling 900, so already you have lose on the product itself on the net value. So you are losing net value already. You bought a product which is more expensive, but you get a product which is more light. So you do not have a representative view. Or it can be different way. So you have get, let's say, lighter on your tanks, it shows from the bill of lading and all the things, but you get heavier. It is working both ways around, let's say 1000, almost water. Okay, so both ways working, but the sampling itself, it has a huge value. I believe it's one of the most valuable things. And what I was aiming also to do it is improve the sampling equipment here in order that we have much more accurate sampling, that we are making better testing of the crude, and we are able to get a better reflections actually on the quality of the crude, like cloud point, pour point, flow point, let's say, where the crude stopped flowing, and also density, also viscosity, also different viscosity numbers on the temperatures, okay, and which temperature, let's say for 20 degrees, 40 degrees, what is the viscosity? Because, for example, if you have a liquid which is 50 centi-stroke kinematic viscosity at, let's say, 20 degrees Celsius, and then you get on 40 degrees Celsius, you get 15 CST, this is a huge reduction. This is really huge reduction on the flow properties of the crude. So the crude from this stance, it's flowing really fast. It's much faster because the difference on the units, it's really huge. So what you would like to do, it is to adjust, let's say, the slope tanks, at least slope tanks, to 40 degrees Celsius, or yes, to 40, just to have better flowability. That's because you're crude oil washing, you have a quickly drainage of your tanks, while crude oil washing and the flow of the crude will be going much faster to the bell mouth of the suction from the cargo tank. Okay, you have quick drainage, you have much better penetration, and with the increasing of the temperature, you are much better able to penetrate if you have any let's say heavy sediments or any sticky lay material, let's say. And also it depends, yes, which weather conditions you have, which I also explain here, through the summer, which is the best setups, through the winter, and which things you have to take in account. And explain, yes, for the reason for the temperatures, how they change, how they impact your discharge operations. Another thing that we can say about the crude oil is highly affected by the temperature. By the temperature changes, by pressure changes not that much, but some of the crudes are able to absorb the crude oil, the inner gas, okay, from the top of the tank that you have top up. They have the absorption effect and the dilution of the gases in the crude. So as you have, let's say, traveling and you do not have any losses through your PV valves on top of the deck, that is a good thing. But if you see the pressure is dropping on the crude, on the product, that means the crude is absorbing the inner gas on it. And when you're going, let's say, to the countries where you have hot conditions, you can see that your tanks start back again to pressurize. That's why check your inner gas, how it's reacted, how it's affected for this specific crude, and just build that knowledge in order to keep your safe, let's say, not over pressurize the tank and also not under pressurize the tanks by a lot. Because what you need inside the cargo tanks, you need always to have the positive pressure in order to create that safe environment for the crude. So the oxygen will not enter your tanks and you have always a positive displacement when it's needed. And you have also your inner gas system ready in case it is necessary to do some purging or just top up of the tanks basis on your observations. That's why I see also through the development, because I have interact a lot also by set up the temperature monitoring sheet, and I understand all the aspects that are related on that checks, okay, and monitoring. Because the temperature itself, the pressure itself, the daily monitoring of the temperatures can tell you a real story how the product is behaving through the days, through the changing of the sea temperature and through the changes of the wind force, the temperature of the wind. That's why through that observations you are able to build the knowledge that you know how to transfer the product properly. So you will not have less and less volatile compounds lost from the crude, from the product itself. Because let's say, for example, if you are transferring the crude oil in your tanks, let me bring a little bit, yes, let's put a little bit alcohol here to the pen so I can write a little bit. Let's fill. Okay. So if you're transferring your crude oil and basically you overheat it, and that's why you need sampling. That's why you need sampling in order to learn what is the cloud point, what is the heating temperature that you need it exactly. Because why it's so much important, the temperature, the measuring of the temperature, the understanding of the temperature, because you need the exact temperature to your product to be given. In order, which I explain here also about volatile compounds, if you overheat it too much, your product, you will have creation of vapors here. So basically the product starts to separate. You're making like a distillation now, okay? So as you heat it, the light compounds, the gases, start to separate from the product. And that's why the pressure on the tanks start to increases. So you need to balance your inner gas with the heating as well and monitoring. That's why the monitoring is daily. When we are transferring the product, it is daily. We have the sheet, and this is, let's say, can be done from a deck officer, or it can be done at chief officer. Depends how the load and the things are distributed on the vessel. It can be done any from the officers on deck. And you need exactly the amount of heating. Let's say we have agreed that this product needs 30 degrees Celsius in order to keep it viscosity flow well away from the cloud point and away from the pour point. And also, as much as possible, to not create these vapor pressures increases, because since you have your PV valves here and they're opening through the pressure, you're losing product, and you can lose up to, let's say, 200, 300 on a VLCC very, very easily. You can lose that product just in atmosphere. Okay, it is light compounds, it is methane, butane. So these compounds, if you are not caring that much, you are able to lose them really, really quickly. That's why we need the sampling, we need to know the temperature. But now what is happening most of the time, because there is no understanding of the sampling impact itself, because as I have told, the knowledge is not there probably, or also it can be, let me bring a paper, also it can be, let's say, as well, it can be the interest is not there. So it can work both ways. When there is no interest, there is no understanding also of the value that things are bringing and how the things are affecting the entire supply chain. So basically, when the retention of knowledge is missing and there is no proper transfer of knowledge, there is no interest as well. When the interest drops, there is no care and less care about the product and how the things are happening. But in order to create a willing and interest, you have to pay better, and you have to pay properly the people. You have to create the conditions in order the things are working better, and the people really appreciate of what they are doing. And we are talking about millions, my dear friends. We are talking about millions. This is the sampling itself. It is 1 million, and we can say in years, let's say, if a company was operating for decades without understanding the proper thing about the sampling, which we explained today, they probably lost billions. For sure they lost billions, and these billions could be invested properly without any stress, without any let's say, worry about in the proper direction of the development of the business and direction, development of the business further in a proper direction without being so much in the pressure, and also develop also the personnel that are working here, the persons, and able to sustain their positions and make the transformation, which bring transformation. But what happened through the years, so there was a lot of wasting of money to the site, waste improperly, without proper business plan, without foreseeing real goals, reaching real goals, okay, real goals. Then the next step was the internal politics, which also deviate from the persons, and then there is the restructure that is happening every 2 years, 2.5 years, let's say 3 years, was not able to keep the positions, and the next thing is that you are not able to make the transformation that is required and the transition to the green energies in another section, because since you have lost the proper development, the person, the positions which will able to transform in something else, you have lost the motivation. So motivation, lost motivation. And you know, in order to reverse these things later on, you have to increase the cost tremendously. Increase the cost tremendously by a lot, but the most important thing is that the knowledge and the support is not there anymore. So it's a cycle which is repeated back again, but the next step is less knowledge and less support from the people that are, let's say, applying for the jobs and coming there, and less interest for sure. This is the thing, yes, that has been created a huge damage, a huge underdevelopment for the companies, and that's why you have seen huge struggles on their development, not clear scene of the strategy. And also explain the reason why this happened clearly and transparently, without and we started from sampling, okay? We just started from sampling. All the things has a common pillar, okay? Has a common start. All the things. And it's highly related with how the things are structured in the company and what really matters internally in the company for each and every manager. Because the company itself consists from managers, consists from people that are actually doing the work, and all that plays role. It seems at the moment, yes, that all that, let's say, companies are huge, are big, are strong, but within the days, within the weeks, within the months, everything can change really, really fast without even noticing. Because what has been done, it is a completely, let's say, diversify the portfolios, the understaff, so the load for the remaining increases. Then you have to go back to the market to find people, HR, again and again and again and again in the same loop, and the efficiency really, really drops. If you are looking to the efficiency, how much it has been dropped, you will be really amazed. And this is, yes, the wrong strategies that the sales has been taking. And you know what is it? The sales and the people, they will leave, let's say, on another company, they will leave to something else, they will do something else, does not matter. What remains is a broken company, a broken culture, which intensifies each and every year. So then it becomes like a supermarket company when you are going inside and you just buy things for one a day, and that's all. So it not create a consistent and great environment to work as well. That is it. We have seen in the big companies that is actually happening. And that's why more and more individuals are completely disconnecting from these companies, because actually they do not bring any value to the people that are actually working for them. It has to bring value. That's why you see that the people are not understanding the value. They are working there, but they are not know the value that they are bringing. So the efficiency drops tremendously because there's a lot of things unnecessary. Okay, that's why by simplifying things, and do it also in your work, by simplifying things, making them easier, you actually has a huge gain. You has a huge gain by saving time make the operations much clearer, much easier, and make them much safer. So yes, that is it. That is it about the sampling. If you need some more clarification, let's say, or some questions, they are always welcome. Write, let's say, in the comments. Write also if you require it, let's say, to do some another video. And with one important thing that I would like to say is that what I would like to share and show you that you are able to work also outside the shipping environment, let's say by sailing. So you can do different stuff. You can learn or start on another sector, let's say, which is also related with the shipping, but you can do different things and you can see the methodology, apply the methodology, the way of thinking, and then slowly build your own future. For sure, I will do more interesting videos like that, more and more videos, which will give you another view of how the things are working, how the things are structured, how they can be in order to increase, let's say, the efficiency. But always remember, if you increase your efficiency, the company has to pay you more because you are bringing more value. Or the company that you have created should be bring you more value. Otherwise, it is not created any motivation. That's all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, from Mihail and MOC membership. Join also MOC Talks, where I discuss also some things openly. And see you in the next video. From me, bye bye. Have a great day. Bye.